So self-destructive desire, now we may say, where does it come from? So to understand this, sometimes we feel, why do I have such dark desires? Why do I work against myself? So here, it's helpful to understand how our mind works. If we consider, we have discussed this earlier, there is the mind, and then below that there is the soul. And then of course there's the physical level. The body or the physical level. So now every time we do an action, there is an outer result and there is an inner result. Now the inner result of the action is that an impression is formed. The word impression in Sanskrit is called as saṃskāra. Now what is this inner result? What is the inner result? This impression leads to proposition. To do it again. So if somebody drinks once, then the proposition comes, drink again. So proposition can be called as pravritti, can be called as vāsanā. We'll look at Sanskrit words a little later if we need to, but it leads to proposition. Now when this proposition comes up, then again there's a repetition of the action. The repetition has some outer result and again an inner result. Now the inner result is that the impression gets reinforced. And if this keeps going on and on and on happening, then eventually the impressions become so strong that there is very little of a distance between the proposition coming and then the action getting repeated. So when we repeat a particular action again and again and again, then the propositions become two things. They become stronger and faster. So it comes out with greater force and with greater velocity. Like an alcoholic, somebody who drinks for the first time, second time, think maybe should I drink, should I not drink? Or somebody who's drunk regularly, the thought I shouldn't drink doesn't even pass through their mind. I have to drink. I have to drink. So that is how, for some people, those cravings may become very strong. Now, as I said, the Sanskrit word for this is saṃskāra. Now, this can also be said as saṃskāra. Everybody has some or the other scar in their psyche. Everybody is scarred by some or the other unhealthy habits. But fortunately for us, the mind in one sense is mechanical. That means that what applies to unhealthy habits also applies to healthy habits. The same process, if we start doing something healthy, if we decide every day I'll spend some time chanting mantras, every day I'll spend some time hearing the Bhagavad-gita, studying the Gita. And if you do it once, twice, thrice, 4 times, 5 times, then that will be repeated. And then those impressions will be formed. And those impressions, so though what will happen is, positive impressions, if we form them, they will eventually override the negative impressions. And that's how the negative impressions can be, the influence on us can be decreased. Sometimes we say, I have willpower, I will not do this, I will not do this. Okay, that's good to think of. But if the inner impressions are very strong, then the proposition is going to come. And willpower alone is not enough. Yeah, willpower is required, but we use willpower not just to resist inner impressions, but we use it to, is not so much to resist negative impressions. I will not do this. That is not very helpful, because we will because the impressions are there inside, we will simply feel tormented. Oh, I can't give this up. This is not really helpful. But what we can do is we can use our willpower to persist in creating positive impressions.